Well, we'll talk about Chicago
Okay.
then here shortly.
Okay.
Kay and I will drink gas station wine, basically. We're just short
Can.
of
Sure.
making it out of our own bathroom
Okay.
is what we...
This vision of Lucy stomping on grapes.
Right. That's my Ricky Ricardo. Yeah.
So
Okay.
every 30 minutes, I'll get up and like restart the recording on
Okay.
one of.
While you're over
This
there,
one will go the whole time. It's just the technology.
you grab me a beer out of that little refrigerator. We
What
have
is in
water.
next?
It is
You have to prep it
zero
for your-
carb. I just done.
Another next.
Yeah, another next and a bottle of water for Shenon.
Bottle of water.
I would love some water. Thank you.
There you go. And Brian will take everything else.
Just love your little museum.
Thanks.
I am digging all of this.
My daughter painted those. She's an artist.
Wow.
So she did the Darth Vader and the C-3PO. But it's
She's
kind
what,
of...
16, 17?
Oh, my God. Yeah, I wish. She's 32, 33 in June.
Okay. Right.
It's young when I had
Yeah,
children.
yeah.
a
I remember
child.
that now. Yeah. Ours is going to be 34 this summer.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Right.
I'm older than you,
20.
but
I don't know.
That won't be revealed on camera.
okay.
Right, we don't
I don't
talk
have anything to
about
lie
age.
about. It's a matter of public record.
We don't talk about age here.
Okay. Okay. Oh, wait, let me get this in.
Oh, what other bands other than the Suburbans have you been in?
Oh, well,
Venus Flytrap? Not Venus Flytrap.
Venus.
Venus Envy.
Venus
that was the
Envy.
name. I knew it started with the V.
There's a visual for you. Venus Envy. Yeah, that was fun. That was stellar. I tell people this, and I always get the wrong response, so I kind of got away from it because it wasn't what my intention. But I always tell them I'm the ugly one in that band, or I'm the token brunette in that band, because I was just surrounded by these gorgeous blondes.
Okay.
It's a lot of pressure.
We will talk about them.
Okay.
Hey, Shannon, you could see the screen better than me from your angle. So are we both kind of fit it in?
We'll look good.
Okay. There's a
look
camera
fitting.
behind you that
Trim.
the screen is flipped. And okay, I can see when I lean in. Okay. So we have two cameras. One's on us. That one's on you. So everything's recording now.
Okay, great.
Oh, my gosh.
So
Again, thank you for having me. This is exciting.
But this is the intro.
I'll
It's
try
like-
to be interesting.
And here we go. We're just going to do our intro, so bear with us when we... Ladies and gentlemen,
Totally pre-recorded in Bonner Springs, Kansas.
Kansas City Knights,
Okay. Season 3,
Season 3 premiere.
Episode
Wow.
1.
I'm Brian Rice,
I'm Shannon Geaver.
and today's guest is the lovely Shenon Bone of the Suburbans. So we're completing our tour of the Suburbans.
Right.
Among a myriad of other bands, we just had talked about Venus Envy. We'll touch on that and some of the other stuff that you've done over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for sitting with us for our Season 3 premiere episode.
Okay. All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
There you
Shenon
go.
Bone.
It's not really even Season 3, but we're just calling it that.
It's been so long since we've had a sit-down interview like this that I was like, you know what? And this is it. It just kind of fit because our first episode was 2 years ago, and it just like then the following last summer we decided to make it Season 2. So it's just random stuff how we,
Fine.
decide to make it.
It's
Yeah.
good to be it's good to be the king. You make it whatever you want.
Right. We do whatever we want on
Whatever
this
you want.
show, for God's sake.
So I don't know. Let's see. Is there? Okay. Well, we're just going to start from the beginning. Thanks for putting
Very
these out because
beginning.
now it's kind of centering myself on this.
Okay.
You were from Chicago. You're
The
not.
Chicago area, yes. Joliet, Illinois, to be specific.
Born in
Yeah.
Joliet?
Yep.
No?
Born in Joliet, Illinois.
Okay. I think of the Blues Brothers.
Right? Yeah, I get that
right
a lot.
away.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
So, what part of Chicago is that? What was it?
South.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
It's
South. You
right-
did say South Side.
Yeah, it's where 55 and 80 intersect.
Okay.
Interstate 55 and 80, Joliet.
I've never been. Have you been to Chicago? I'm assuming you've been.
I've been to Chicago a couple times.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a great city.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice. I've seen a couple Cubs games.
Oh, yeah.
There.
That's usually the Mecca for sports
Oh,
fans.
gosh.
was Wrigley.
Right.
Yep.
Saw the Royals beat the crap out of the Cubs.
What year?
Back, this was actually, I'm sorry, this is not about me, but it was when Sammy Sosa was playing.
Okay.
Okay.
That tells me.
So he's up to bat. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take my camera with film in it. That's how long ago
Yeah.
this was. And we had decent seats, so I'm standing in the aisle, and he hits a foul ball and almost hits me. It didn't, and I didn't.
You
get
have
the
all these
ball,
brushes with greatness.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I have one brush with sports greatness. I got to wear Emmett Smith's Hall of Fame jacket.
Wow, whoa, the yellow
His
jacket.
idea, not mine.
My
There is a photo
gosh.
of me in Emmett Smith's jacket.
Well, you've got to be. He must know you fairly well.
No, never met him before. He is just that gracious a human being.
So how did you? Was it like some kind of an
Super
event?
Bowl, yeah. My husband, for a while, worked for Majestic. They made the baseball jersey. I mean,
Yep.
you've seen the Majestic field house.
Yeah,
on
okay.
the,
Brand, yeah.
before it was bought out. So we moved to Florida 10 years ago to go to work, for him to go to work and be the CFO of Majestic for a while. So there were a lot of sports perks, like 2016 All-Star Game when all the Royals were on top. They were the reigning champions. I get to meet some of those guys.
Yeah.
It was a really fun thing.
Gosh, right.
And what's even better when you recognize how many of them are just nice, humble people. And Emmett Smith is about the most gracious you could ever expect.
Very good.
Eric Berry, just big old hug, and his family was lovely. People are nice,
Eric
you know.
Berry from
so
the
that was
Chiefs.
And so,
Yeah.
what location was the All-Star game that year?
San Diego.
So you flew from Florida to San Diego to attend.
Actually, we flew in one day. We flew from Tampa to Kansas City because they were giving out the jerseys to the team members that were going to the All-Star game here at the K that Sunday afternoon. So then we flew out of here to San
Okay.
Diego. in
What a
the same
long day.
And as soon as we walk into the hotel, there's Haas standing there. Got a picture with him. He was just as cute as could be. And these are kids to me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was trying to set him up with my daughter, but
Sorry that didn't work out.
she's okay.
Okay.
She made out all right.
All right, good. So what, Emmett Smith walked by and said, hey, lady, I want you to wear my coat, my Hall of Fame coat.
He was this was at a Super Bowl, and he was
sorry,
just
different
standing
event.
there talking to people, a little bit of a meet and greet, and I just kind of went to say hello, and I don't know if I was going to get his autograph or not, and sooner or later, he was talking about the brotherhood of the Hall of Fame and what it meant to him to be surrounded. I think I said something about being surrounded by greatness, and he goes, "Oh, I'll show you being surrounded by greatness." And it wasn't a reflection on him, but the brotherhood of Hall of Famers. And he put his jacket around my shoulders, and there's a picture of me in it. And he said, "My wife has never even had this on." I didn't know how I felt about that. He didn't mean it icky, but
Right.
I walked over, and my husband said, "Did you just charm Emmett Smith out of it?" Apparently I did. He's just a very sweet person.
Nice, very good.
That was fun.
Very nice.
I could
Very
talk
nice.
sports all day.
We could do. Yeah. Hey,
I mean,
wherever this
are you
conversation takes
embarrassed?
us, we'll get around to the music stuff.
I was in high school before I got a dad in the house. And I apologize to anybody listening to this that has some disagreement with that, but I'm going with that for the purpose of this story. Was 85 Bears, and my stepdad was brand new to us. He still had that new dad smell on him, and he talked football. My mom is a tomboy. I mean, my mom can still go yard. You put a bat in her hand, she'd just jack it. But my kids still talk about that one time when Grandma hit a home run. But football was one thing she didn't really do or understand. So that was my first introduction to NFL. So that was fun. And I was on the edge of my seat all season. So I'm definitely a tomboy.
That was a great season.
It was
for
a
the
lot of
Chicago
fun.
Bears.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Right.
I remember that Super Bowl party.
You must have loved the Michael Jordan years, all the national.
Oh, hey.
Yeah,
Well, when did
a
you?
lot of buzz.
When did you move to Kansas City again? At what point?
I have two answers to that. Right after we got married in 1992.
Okay.
We moved July of 92. We moved to Lawrence first so that I could finish school. And then we moved back to Illinois for a little bit with his job. And then we moved back here and moved into our house in Olathe in 1998 and stayed there until 10 years ago.
Okay. So
back and
you
forth.
did get to live through the
I was in Chicago for a big part of that. Yeah.
for many of those years. Okay.
And I have a much younger brother, and those were his formative basketball years. So it was just fun watching him being a little nut.
So you got to experience your hometown having the championships, and now you got to experience the Royals, and then now
Much
currently
bigger
the
deal.
Chiefs
Much bigger
winning
deal.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not conflicted. I grew up a Sox fan, but something about Kansas City just brings you in. You become part of it, and you don't really have a choice. So
there's a lot of, I don't know if this applies to Chicago necessarily, but I'm not native to Kansas City, but I've noticed there's a lot of civic pride.
Definitely.
People who are in
It's a small
Kansas
town.
City, they take pride in doing things well. All the events that take place here every year, there's a big civic pride in just a collegiality about representing well. And I've talked to people who are from other parts of the country. Like somebody was from Florida visiting, and he's like, "Yeah, we don't do this." It was like the Irish Fest. I think it was the Irish Fest, and this guy was from Orlando, and he's like, "Yeah, we just don't do the stuff like this in Orlando."
It's so
I'm like,
multicultural.
really?
There isn't one real culture in Florida. Florida is its own planet, having lived there.
Yeah.
And we miss, you don't realize how special we are here in the Midwest until you leave.
That's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, probably from me. It's not the first time you've heard it from me.
No, not just you. I've heard it from many people. I know people that moved away and came back, and it's sort of the same kind of thing.
We're really happy to be home.
Yes.
Good. And how long did you live in Florida?
4 years in Tampa, 4 years in the middle of North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh, so you weren't on the coast in North Carolina?
Well, we did have a little vacation place on the coast.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time there.
Okay.
But, and that's cool. I miss that.
Did you
Carolina coast is just different. It's it's a pirate vibe, it's a fishing vibe.
Yeah, that has a history. If you go look back, I was watching something that must have been on Netflix some time ago, and they talked about that era, the pirate, like that sort of weird era between the initial colonization from Europe all the way up until like the Revolutionary War. It was just a free for all for such a long time in that area, and that was part of the heart of it.
Yeah, Ocracoke. Yeah, pirate city, man. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
So we moved here in '92, and we, other than a brief stint back there, this is just where our heart is. We raised our kids here, and
did you ever anticipate that? I mean, Chicago, what they call it, the second city, right?
Yeah.
Which I think New York is inferred as implied as the number one. So Chicago's the second city. Did you ever have that idea that you would resonate with Kansas City that much? Coming from a city, hey, we're Chicago, and we're going to this town in the middle of,
I didn't really give it a lot of thought at the time. We were young, we were newly married, we were just trying to figure something out. And it didn't, I wasn't looking too far ahead.
Right.
So I guess no. It's simply no. I could not, but I wasn't really, my head wasn't in that space. I just wanted to try to raise my family and finish college, and I was just trying to get through it.
How spaced out are your children? So
Close.
Okay, so they're just rapid, Okay.
Yeah, the biggest gap is 2.5 years.
Okay. So you were just too busy dealing with that as it came at you to think of like.
Right. Yeah. It was just, right. Whatever is right in front of you. Who's hungry? Is everybody got all the hands and feet? Right.
Who's hungry? I'm pregnant again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Our youngest is adopted, though. I want to go on record as saying the two youngest are 14 months apart, but we picked him differently.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
great.
We chose him.
He's
6'3", biracial, but he's got big green eyes. So I tell him he gets his eyes from my side of the family.
right. The Irish side of things.
Yeah. When he was in high school, you're Mama Bone? I am.
Nice.
I am.
Now, your parents, your mom and stepdad are still with us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They're fantastic. I don't even
very
know where they
active.
are.
Right. Okay.
I mean, like, you mean you don't know where they are literally right now,
missing?
or where they're living?
Do we need to get?
They're living in the same house since 1984, but they're not always there. I
Right.
get a text, they're going over Niagara Falls in a barrel. I don't know where they're at.
All right.
That's great. They've got service.
They don't
at Niagara Falls.
consult me.
How old are they now?
Late 70s.
Okay.
We're going to go with late 70s.
Oh, very good.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Mom.
No.
It's okay. I know somebody, actually Meredith, Brian
Yes.
Wallace's,
Wallace,
your old
Love
singer.
her.
Her mom, Maureen, is I think 78 or 79 now, and she still runs an animal shelter called Scars outside of Topeka.
We are aware of Scars. We did work with Scars.
And
Yeah.
I've gone out there and worked. I mean, she's just like, imagine, like just somebody who's 78, 79 years old is just sharp and just on top of it and just, that's kind of, I don't know. It's just tying into philosophically. Like, I feel like people who don't retire and just keep working tend to
Right.
live longer and be happier. That's my theory on it.
If you want to keep moving, keep moving.
Yeah. And she's just, this is
Yeah.
her life, and she,
Yeah. And they're blessed with good health, and they do
Yeah.
take care of themselves. My mom has her own health food blog.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right,
I'm not sure if
nice.
it's currently live. She's working on it currently, but it's called Greener Platters. She's just, thank you for taking care of yourself, because I really don't have time to take care of you right now. So
Sure. No,
You've seen the
busy.
energy I have on stage. My
Right.
mom makes me tired.
Now, do you pick up? Is there anything that you do for yourself that you've picked up from your mom?
My mom is Martha Stewart. We have very different hobbies. I don't care too much for cooking. And she's a master gardener. She's just this short of being horticulturalist, and I can kind of keep things alive. But just the enthusiasm with which she goes into something, my sister and I both get that from her. My brother's a little different, but
Okay.
my brother's an amazing person, but he's just much more chill.
Okay. All right.
Have I met him, or is he even in Kansas City? He's
Not very often. He's got little ones.
okay.
So my oldest and his youngest are 30 years apart to the day. So my parents have grandkids that span 30 years.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
And he's in Chicago.
He is. All my family's in Chicago, and Mike's
Or
family too.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
so you're the only two with your children who are here
Yes.
necessarily. Okay.
Yeah. So the only other biological relative we have is our daughter here in Kansas.
Okay.
Okay.
And Andrew is in Nashville.
Right.
Okay.
So is
All right.
Brighton. Yeah.
Who
Brighton's in
I
it.
follow. I follow Andrew.
Do ya?
Bone on Facebook
Oh.
and see his posts and such.
Yeah. He just got back on Facebook. I'm not sure
He's
why.
a drummer.
Yes.
You knew that.
Well, he sat in with the Suburbans last summer at Prairie
Prairie
Fire.
Fire.
Of all I don't
Was
think
I there for that one?
I feel like you were.
Cullen was really sick.
Gosh.
So Andrew just
Okay.
gave him a
Maybe
little
I
break.
was. I'm
Yeah.
sure I was. Okay.
You might have been. I feel like I
Maybe I
talked
was
to you there that
too
night.
lit up or something. I don't know. It's those pinstripe beers. They get me. They get me.
So, when did you, I don't think I genuinely know this. Like, when did you start singing? When did you discover that you could be a singer? Is there something in your family? Is there a family history of being a musician, singer?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely in my family, both sides of my biological family, my father's family in particular. Extremely musical, dancers and musicians.
Okay.
And my mom is a terrific dancer.
Okay.
So dancing, Shannon, that, yes.
Dancing.
My
I know that.
My mom and my biological birth father were beautiful together, and my mom's parents were absolute poetry to watch those two dance together in 1940s era. Oh, it was gorgeous.
The big band.
Oh,
Was that the tail end
beautiful.
of the big band era?
I've never seen anything so smooth. So I have a cousin that was a dancer on a cruise ship for a long time. She would
Oh.
it just, yeah, I mean, so
Wow.
yeah, dancing is my
Alright.
first love. So I guess, yes, in utero, I always knew I could sing. Sang in church choir a lot as a kid and took piano lessons, and but I'd rather have been dancing. So in high school, I wasn't in choir or anything like that. But I was on the dance
Oh,
team.
gosh. So not in choir in high school or
Not in
college?
school.
Okay, not in
Right.
school. Okay.
No, I was on the dance team. Yep.
Did you take any lessons for singing or anything like that?
Not formally. When I was 19, I joined the Joliet Chamber Choir, who had an incredible director at that time and just was surrounded by folks that had way more experience than me and just I learned so much from that experience. Just keeping clean notes and breath control, and
Yeah.
the rest of it's just hard work and practice.
And
but
so basically, it's just sort of like somebody would give you like on the spot pointers
yeah, kind of.
yeah,
Or
as
just being in a group where it was a group dynamic, group learn.
that the Montessori technique, as I
Yes.
think that would be called.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
Yeah.
We're talking techniques.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I started singing in cover bands was here in Kansas City in like early 2000s, and my first band was Retroactive.
I remember. Wait, are they still a current band? I
Yeah.
feel like that's a current.
A little bit, yeah.
Is there anybody that's the same line that was in the band that is still in the band that was in the band when you were at?
I was in the Retroactive 3 different times. I kept quitting, and I kept sucked back in for different reasons. So different iterations of it we would have. But Mark Lancaster was the founding member of that band and the drummer until he couldn't physically drum anymore. And he still helps book for them. So he's definitely, I would say, is the owner of that band.
I feel like I've seen them. That was one of the
All
early.
80s,
I've
yeah.
heard of them.
There was a similar band called Backtracks that evolved into. I can't remember what they evolved into, but that's a.
I think Retroactive and the Zeros go back the longest in terms of 80s bands, but I could be wrong about
If
that.
I could remember, I remember before I got into seeing the bands and taking photos of the bands, Backtracks was one of the first bands around the year 2000, 2001. And they evolved into, they had 2 girl singers. They're a big Northland band, and I can't remember the name, but they evolved. They changed the name. That was the first band. And then the Zeros started in 2003.
Yeah.
And what did the Zeros evolve into?
They were, what you
they
see is what they were.
devolved.
What you see is what that. No, they had a 4th. I think they started out with 4 guys, and then they down.
wow.
Similar to the Bagos.
remember
Bagos
that.
started out with 4, and so, so you were in Retroactive
Right.
during those years, and
Yeah. And the band predated my experience with them, so I don't know when they started. But
okay,
And what, you just, somebody, had you get talked into singing for them, or how did that start?
we took our kids to Branson. And
That'll do it every time.
yeah, there was, and I just said, I can do that. I want to do that. I was the shy one growing up, and especially in my household. I have a mom and a sister who commanded more of a presence in the room than I ever did, and I just, it doesn't take Freud to figure out that eventually Shenon was going to have a microphone to feel heard. So I just felt like I want, my kids were little, but they were old enough that they didn't need me. Mike was great. He was terrifically supportive. And, back in the days when Missouri clubs were 10 to 2, and by the time you tore down and got home, it was 3, 4 in the morning.
remember those days?
Getting up at 8 with little ones.
The old Brooksider.
The Brooksider,
days.
yes.
2. Yep, I remember.
That was it. Yep.
And that was when smoking was still allowed indoors,
Yes.
and you get home and you have to
Yes.
wash. He's like, "Oh my, your clothes just
When I
smell
In
like
the garage.
cigarettes." Yeah,
I
yep.
just didn't even come in the house. I just took them off in the garage.
Then they were used for rags for oil changes.
Right.
Right? It's rock and
Right.
roll
They never
for
came
you.
in the house again. It was very expensive band to be in. So that was that. And then, eventually then I started with, I just didn't want to do 80s music anymore. When you do a niche band, you get tired pretty quickly because you're so confined. But still friends. Those guys are still my best friends today. I mean, we're still very close.
Very nice.
We've always stayed very close, no matter where we've gone and what we've done. And then Venus Envy, it was just Brett Boulay
yeah,
Right?
said, I know of a female band, they're looking for a singer. So it was Stephanie Shelton and Christy Bro and Julia Throw, who's an incredible guitar player. I think she's kind of retired from it. Last I heard, I unfortunately didn't keep as close touch with her, but I still talk to Stephanie quite a bit.
Yeah.
That was a band I would want to get back together because that was just such a badass talent.
I remember. I was photographing Jim and Christy's reception.
Yeah,
and you
I was
guys,
there,
And
yeah.
you did a little bit.
Yep.
You know, Christy's in her wedding dress on drums,
And we did Muse. She was a big Muse fan, so
Oh
we
my
did
gosh.
Hysteria. That was like one of our signature songs. If she
Dang,
could have,
that's-
Christy would have been a Muse tribute band. She would have been just happy to play their entire catalog. It
Nice.
was great fun.
Nice.
Great fun.
I think that was the first time
Miss those ladies a lot.
I don't know if you and I met formally that night, but I do remember that was probably the first time that I became aware and saw you.
Okay.
Was
Ryan
that-
Rice became self-aware at that point.
Yeah.
Self-awareness was a few years before that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then you
Alright.
ended up not too many years after that taking my daughter's senior pictures.
Monica. Yeah.
Monica,
Mhm.
yeah.
Was it senior photos? I thought they were like modeling, like she was doing modeling headshots. I thought that was
Could have been.
something.
She did both.
That
yeah.
was 2014, I believe. So
Yeah.
that was 11 years ago.
That was her senior year, so
Okay.
could have been either. But
Yeah, I remember the concept wasn't so much senior photos as
Okay.
like modeling headshots.
yeah, she might have wanted both. Hard,
And
I
that
don't
was
remember.
at that was at
Your
Dave,
studio.
Yeah, well, my old studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss having a studio.
Do you?
Get one. Have a new one.
You know, a lot of high overhead for those things, but
Yeah.
Who cares?
so
So circling back to what I do for myself, I'm still a dancer, and I have signed. And I don't know why I did this, but I signed up with Antonio's wife, Melinda. I'm committed now to learning flamenco dancing.
Right. Okay.
I'm an
Antonio
Irish
Rojas.
dancer.
Mhm. Oh yes.
I'm an
right.
Irish
You're an
dancer,
Irish
so
dancer.
I do that sometimes, and
course.
yeah.
All right. Do you have you danced with for the Irish Fest? Are you involved with the Irish Fest at all?
Not really. For the longest time, until just the last 10, 12 years, there wasn't a dancing school in Kansas City that would teach adults.
Ah. Okay. All right.
So
Yeah, it's
Irish
all
Irish Fest would
kids.
come along, and the dancers would come out, and I would just cry. I missed it.
You wanted to be
I wa-
right up there with them. Right.
It was a very evocative thing for me.
Yeah,
It's
what's-
just part of who I am.
It seems like you would have a lot to offer the Irish Festival in some way, shape, or form.
It's hard. It's really hard, and I don't know that somebody my age has any business doing this without expectation of, injury. But I almost broke my foot more than one time.
Gosh.
And
Hey,
I'm not clumsy. It's just hard.
right.
So I wish that during my 20s and 30s, I had had the opportunity to stay with it. So I didn't pick it up again until I was in my 40s,
Okay.
which
so
was
you,
insanity.
you kind of moved to singing then in your 30s.
Yeah, because I could. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what did you do in your 20s and 30s with dancing?
Sesame Street.
You did Sesame
Yeah,
Street.
I didn't. It was, 4 kids was a lot to keep up with.
Oh, okay. You were just a mom.
Were you a stay-at-home mom?
Yes,
Stay
yes.
home mom. And so
Yes.
okay.
There were too many of them, and I did go back and finish my college education. It was a big deal
And that's what
with kids at home. So
And you did that at KU because you
Yeah.
come back. Yeah,
I
okay.
did. I graduated from KU eventually.
What was your degree in?
I ended up accidentally double majoring in political science and economics.
Okay.
Gosh.
Yeah, nobody
That's a
sees
lot.
that coming. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, accidentally, because pardon the pun, a boneheaded move. I just, I was busy. I was distracted. I think I was probably pregnant for half of it. Thank you.
Our drummer's a little late.
Do you want me to set that one up again?
No,
okay,
go for it.
Okay.
We'll rate
I'll be more on. I'll be
Fine.
more on point and going forward.
Okay. I'll try to warn you.
Here it comes.
Where was I going? Oh, I just didn't. I thought I was graduating. I thought I was done. I had everything I needed, and I'm sitting in the dean's office, and she said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, no, here I go. I'm done. Where's my cap and gown? Let's do this." She said, "There's fine print at the bottom."
Oh.
And she literally circled in the catalog where I needed 5 more classes at the 500 level, the junior senior hours. So, yeah, you have all of the stuff you need.
Your prerequisites.
Right. Yeah. But all this other stuff here. Well, and I had all my political science stuff. And they didn't have a minor program then. And so I went back and I took 5 classes in the 500 level in economics, and all the prereqs were the same. So I actually have a Bachelor of Arts in economics.
Okay, very nice.
which is not as
You're well
common.
educated. You and Cham are both well educated.
Yeah,
Cham Newhouse.
yes.
Her singer and her co-singer
And my
in the
and my
Suburbans.
dear friend,
Yes.
Yes.
a dear human being.
Right.
So you were in Retroactive and then Venus Envy.
Right.
Who was there anything? What like we know you're in the Suburbans now, and anything I think anybody listening to us today is
Right.
going to know that you're in the Suburbans. What were you doing as far as musical acts in between Venus Envy and Suburbans?
Well, I did Retroactive 2 or 3 or 8 more times in between, but we, when we moved in 2015, Michael and I were both in Retroactive then.
Okay.
It was hardship on the band
Yeah.
to have to replace 2 lead singers. That's hard.
Right.
Yeah.
So I felt for him, but
So why did you? Okay, so he obviously moved to Tampa for work then.
Yes, it was
for
a job of a
company.
lifetime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the CFO.
right.
Okay. All right, and so
We were in a band in Tampa
Okay.
together,
okay,
All right.
which I think is kind of answering your question, but if
Yeah.
not, circle back.
yeah,
I'm sorry to everybody listening here, but that was the best band we were ever. It just
oh wow, I was
Suburbans is a very close second,
okay.
Wow. Okay.
but we had a Berkeley trained bass player that could just play anything, and a guitar player that his heart was in, European death metal. I mean, he could play anything. So we would each pick songs. There were 6 of us, and everybody picked 6 songs, and you really had to have a good reason to blackball somebody else's song. Otherwise, everybody was in. So I said, Cult of Personality. Okay. They crushed it.
So that's surprising because I wasn't sure what the music scene in Tampa. Or did you just happen to fall in with the
Yeah.
best with the right? Because I know I've been to Tampa, Clearwater, or Siesta, and sort of the musicians
Not-
that I did see there were.
It's not here.
It's not
Right.
at the kid, but for you to go like you found the right mix of musicians to form that band. That
And
you
I
would-
don't
that you-
believe in coincidences. This was meant to be. We needed something to do. It was not a good time, and we needed something to do. So
Yeah.
he auditioned. There was back when it was still Craigslist. They decided they didn't want a female vocalist because women are too flighty, and they had just had bad experiences, so they just wanted to bypass it altogether. Right? Yeah.
They hadn't met you.
But
yet.
they're Florida. They don't
Florida.
understand Midwestern women. We
Sure.
don't do like that, but
Right.
by and large. So Michael joined the band, and he said, if you really want talent, I got somebody in my back pocket if you ever decide. So they did pretty quickly decide they wanted to give me a shot.
Very good.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
keyboard player, and still good friends with those guys too. And again, we moved away, or we would have stayed with that band. But that was just a lot of rock. It was so much fun.
Yeah,
It
it
was
And
obviously it
just
was
a
all
lot-
covered. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever do original stuff? Was that
No.
ever on your barometer? You just
No.
wanted to get up and sing,
Okay,
cover,
so
and you were
no.
happy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much great music out there. I have nothing to add. Now, if somebody else has
Originals that asked you to do.
yeah, I'd be happy to do it. It's an honor to try to lend something to that. But
songwriting
No.
itself has never resonated for you.
No.
You just, I get it.
No.
It absolutely makes sense that you just want to get up and sing songs that you like and everybody likes. And and so what were the venues like? There's this place in Tampa.
Florida?
Okay. Yeah, there's this place I'd been to, and I happened when I went on vacation there, actually it was 10 years ago, there was a place that Samantha Fish was playing, and Go-Go was there, and I can't remember the name of it off the top. I'm going to look it up here.
Okay.
on my
Look
phone.
it up.
But I mean, how were the venues there? What was like? Do people get into
outdoor
music?
bars, just
sure.
outdoor bars.
Outdoor life.
Yeah, just patio stuff. There was a bar that we were their special occasion band, and it was kind of a biker themed sports bar, and the guy that owned that was just a tremendously sweet human being and just loved us. And
Do the people there get into music
Yes.
the way they do here?
No.
Does that make sense? What I'm
Yes.
asking.
yes, I mean, everybody loves music. Everybody likes to go and hear a good band, and we would have a few regulars, but I think by and large we're just more dedicated to everything here. You know, just the commitment level and
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about musicians
Yeah.
as versus
No.
like the
no, I'm talking about the crowd.
Oh, real? Okay.
Yeah, I think that, you know, if I happen to run into a good band, great. And if I don't, that's okay too. It's just a different vibe in Florida. Just a different, I think people are there for a reason. You know,
They're
they
there
don't.
for the beaches and the sun.
They
and,
just or they paid their dues. A lot of people from the north, they've already been cold. They don't need to do it again. You know, so I just think it's a different approach. And then, you know, we played a lot of heavier rock compared to Suburbans.
Yeah.
And so it was just a different, you know, we'd be great at biker festivals. It's just a different crowd. But
Okay.
we had a good time.
you know, did you ever play like beach gigs then?
Yeah, a
Like-
few.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Same music. Yeah. But I got to sing stuff that I don't get to sing now, which was fun. I miss
Yeah.
it.
Skipper's Smokehouse in Tampa. I
I don't know what that
resonates.
is. Yeah.
Skippers,
That's what I
Smokehouse.
would call that the knuckleheads of Tampa.
Okay.
I was there, and I happened, like I said, I happened to take a vacation down there.
In
So-
Tampa.
solo vacation in Clearwater, and somebody had told me, "Oh, you know, you should see if Samantha Fish is touring Florida right now. You should see if she's going to be there when you're there." And I'm like, "Oh, she's literally going to be
Yeah.
here tomorrow." And then I reached out to GoGo, and GoGo got me on the list, and I went up there, took a bunch of photos and stuff, and it
We
was
kept
in
missing
Tampa.
each other.
Yeah.
But who we did see often was Brandon Miller.
Really,
Brandon,
Oh, he tours
Brandon
all
and
the time.
Nicole. Yeah, when we lived there, they would come and we would be on their guest list, and we seldom missed them.
They hit Florida all the time.
Yeah.
It's like 2 or 3. Feels like 2 or 3 times a year
Right.
they hit Florida.
I was trying to
Yeah.
get him to stay at our house, save the hotel fees, and
Yeah.
just stay with us. We
Sure.
got room and a pool.
Right. Right. Who doesn't have a pool though?
Right, a few,
Yeah.
not very many.
Yeah. So, what part of Tampa did you live in?
In Tampa, we lived in just a north of the airport a little bit.
Okay.
So we lived in the city.
Okay. Yeah, because when I went to Tampa on my vacation, I flew straight to that airport.
Yeah, we're
in
10
question.
minutes from the airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Great airport. Easy airport.
I want to go back. I liked
Yep.
Florida. I liked the Gulf Coast side of. I mean, I haven't been to the Atlantic side, but
I kind of prefer the Atlantic side.
Really?
Michael's mom lived there for a couple of years. He's got a cousin there. So he's got family that lived in Cocoa. And I got to tell you, if I were to go back, that's a different culture and more country.
so where's Cocoa at on the
North of,
towards Jacksonville?
east of Orlando, north of,
Miami. So basically central Atlantic coast
yes.
of Florida.
Yeah,
Okay.
NASA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've heard of NASA.
Yeah. Kennedy Space Center. They're 10 minutes from the
Right.
Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah. Great.
So, yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Every once in a while we'll say, well, would you move back to Florida? Would we move back to I don't know. We're not there yet. We just got here. I feel like we just got here and
It's
I
only
wasn't
been 2 years. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, and it went fast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just sitting there minding my own business. We just moved back a month, and all of a sudden, I accidentally ended up in Suburbans.
Right.
I was just having
It
dinner.
happens. Yeah. You were
At
just having
Barley's
dinner.
at Barley's Brew House
Yes.
on Midland, you know,
Right.
where the Suburban's
It's
home base.
it's a great
Yeah.
story. It pays to be nice to people. You know,
It does.
people
You're right.
think well of you.
Yeah, because I know the story too. You know, that was
I
you just
don't.
have-
So you guys can tell that. You already talked about it.
Not on this interview. I talk about it all the
Okay.
time because it's a
No,
fun
I-
story.
Let's hear your side of
My side? I don't even know. Oh, you're not even talking.
I know.
Sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
I know. Sorry.
I think it's the same. I think it's told
Yeah.
the same way, but he just does a better British accent than I do, so I will bypass that. You're welcome, Terry. We were just having dinner with friends and other friends that we hadn't seen. You know, we were just getting back to town. We were just starting to see people again that we hadn't seen in 10 years. And we were at Barley's, and the Suburbans were setting up. Their female singer wasn't there that night. I think they said she might have been sick. So it was just the guys. And Terry Adams is there,
Terry, the Phil Collins Experience,
Right.
who we have interviewed. We
Right.
interviewed him
Old
earlier this
friend
year.
of the
right?
show.
And I was in I forgot groove therapy. I was in
Oh,
groove
you were
therapy
in
for a little
Casey
while
Groove
too.
Therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, with him. So I enjoyed getting to know him. He's such a sweet,
Great guy.
just a
Super
a
guy.
doll.
Yeah.
And he's my height, and he loves to dance, so we would dance together a lot. I'm his favorite dance partner because I'm the only one smaller than him. But anyway, he was having dinner with his family just out of nowhere and just walk up and say, hey, it was so exciting to see him. Clearly didn't, but it's Kansas City. You always, whenever you leave, you run into somebody you know.
Sure. Yeah.
So that was fun. And we were getting ready to leave and they were getting ready to start playing. And Keith walked up to Terry and just kind of whispered in his ear, we're going to be looking for a new female vocalist if you know anyone. And he said, mate, she's right there.
Yeah. Right.
Minding my own business. So he did. I didn't think he would call. I didn't think anything of it, but we stuck around and danced a little, Michael and I. Mm-hmm. I married Michael because he was the first boyfriend I had that would dance with me. So I just married him.
Very
Gentlemen,
nice.
take notes.
Yeah.
I took
Shannon
notes.
dances all the time.
I know.
Hey.
Hey.
He dances with his girlfriend all the
I
time.
know. I
All
love
the
it.
time.
I love it. It's a fun thing to do. People should do it more often. It's good
Keeps
for
me,
you.
Slim and trim. So Keith calls you up.
He did
Keith
call.
Sarah, the
Yeah.
chairman of the board.
Yes. and quickly, too, like within 48 hours, I think. It was just a couple of days on the outside. And, he explained what they were about and if I was interested and how much they play. And the only thing that I balked at was the schedule. And it can be intense.
Yeah.
Obviously,
including,
clearly this week and next week, and
we have
this
three weekends of back-to-back plus the Purple Jam. So within a week, I had 5
Gosh.
shows. And
Yeah.
it was a little nuts, but I could not ask for better friends, and they have just
They're good
even when
people.
you don't want to work, the nights you just want to stay at home and watch Netflix in your jammies. I always have fun when I get there because Keith he just laughs all the time. We crack each other up. So yeah, it's been a good experience.
He's got an intense work ethic and just energy to him.
But it appears effortless.
Yeah.
He just shows up knowing everybody just shows up at rehearsal knowing their stuff. And it just it's a pleasant experience. It's just not egos. It's just nice guys. And, Brian, I loved working with Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Brian.
Brian is the now former singer
Right.
of Suburbans.
He and I, because he can be so shy at the same time as he's, just this god rock star. He can also be very shy. And it takes him a long time to get to know people. And we got where, we had our own thing going on together. And I hated that. I just felt like we had just finally gotten somewhere but it's a huge time commitment. So
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I
and
respect-
I knew
I respect he was
at a
burned out.
point,
Mhm.
Right.
the schedule and his son is a senior in high school.
Right.
And
Big year.
he wanted to be. He hated having to
Yeah.
keep missing
An aging mother
special
as well.
his-
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
I believe
that
she
was hard
finally-
on him.
That was
I
real
believe she
hard.
That
finally
was hard.
passed away.
She
Yeah.
did at Christmas. God bless her. But we rallied, I think, around him pretty well. In as much as he's can be kind of private about stuff
Yeah.
too. You don't hear him talk about a lot of stuff, but these guys, they have your back.
Yeah.
100%. I've never been in a band where I had so much fun, where I knew I was loved, like genuinely loved as a person.
That's nice.
Not like this.
Yeah.
Now, retroactive, we're still very close friends. I know they love me, but this is different. We're all a little older. That was also, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
So it's been a terrific experience.
And you've been through two iterations of the Suburbans.
Yes.
You got.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess I'm one of the core members now.
Brian,
weird.
Brian and Antonio and Cullen were
All
quiet guys. They were.
Cullen's
quieter.
not quiet.
Oh, okay. Well, he seemed like it to me.
No, he's not.
Cullen,
quiet.
no,
all right.
Cullen and I are very close, and we
Okay.
still hang out a lot.
And Cullen is the now former drummer.
Right.
Right.
Antonio is the now former guitar
Yes.
player.
He's got his own guitar repair shop that's.
He's
a lot of
incredible.
work. Yeah. He's a
I've
great
never.
guy.
He's just technically perfect.
We interviewed him.
I
a
know.
while. Yeah, yeah.
I listened to
He's
that
one of-
interview. I
he's
watched
one of
that
them.
interview. Yeah.
And you're going to start flamenco dancing.
Flamenco
right.
dancing with his
Okay.
wife. And he's a flamenco singer,
Yes.
which you talked about.
Right.
He did that for us in the interview.
Yeah.
He did a little
There's
bit
just
of that.
nothing that guy can't do.
Right. There you go. There you go. And then you replace him with Grant.
On guitar.
Aaron
So sweet.
on
Aaron on
drums, and Cham on singer.
It was such a that
different
talk
personalities.
About,
Yeah.
talk about
right
great
there.
timing because Brian was able to go back to his old band Caprice Classic because Vince decided
Right.
because Vince has a young child, and I don't know if you ever met Vince, but me and Vince go back to middle school in Manhattan,
Oh,
Kansas.
wow.
So we go back to the 1987,
townies.
1980, yeah. And so, and I know his mom, and then I shot his wedding in like 2000, one of the first weddings I ever shot in 2008.
What's his last name?
Wade.
No, I don't know Vince.
Vince Wade,
I
yeah.
look forward to meeting him.
And so he sang in Caprice for 10 years. He replaced Brian in 2014 and had a child. I mean, had a child, he's the same age as me, obviously. I think I'm 2 weeks older than him, so we're both 52. And he had his first child at like 45 or something. So he's got so she's at the age
big deal.
she's at the age where they're taking her to activities all the time. And I think the last show I saw with him back in November, he was just like, man, I get so tired, and it's like I want a night off, stuff. And then
Yeah.
so that segued from Brian playing too many gigs, like ready to just dial it back. Oh, I'll just go back, fill in for Vince. Vince can retire, and I could just sing fewer gigs, and
But that was Meredith's doing. Meredith will gladly admit that she signed him up for that because she just hated that he wasn't going to be in a band. She just wasn't going to have it, apparently. So she signed him up for another band because she just loves watching her man perform.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I do.
and so simultaneously, Atlantic Express. Cham and Aaron's now former band was
Right.
calling it a day.
Wow, we
at
got
the same
lucky.
time frame.
Yeah.
So everybody got to come into Suburban. So Suburban's got to continue,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing how like the timing worked out for three separate bands
Yep.
simultaneously, where everybody like walked away happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's been because I sing more songs, because we had the opportunity with a change that big in the band to add new things. I think we would have gotten there eventually, but everybody just it's hard to get new things together. But when we had to commit, and just over the Christmas and December, January were insane. I mean, it wouldn't be uncommon to see each other 5 nights a week just because with band practice and photo shoot and we were together all the time. But we finally got where the set list is a little more balanced, and Cham is the kind of consummate professional that makes you want to be better at your craft. He just said, I do not hit wrong notes. And I'm going, well, then I better not ever either. Now I'm, in my head about it all the time. I can't hit any wrong notes. So Keith's wife, Tiffany, said to Michael the other night at the winery, she said, I think Shenon's getting better. Michael said, no. She's always been good. You just never got to hear her sing anything before. Now she's
Very
actually
true.
singing.
Sure.
But I might have been getting a little lazy.
Back then?
Yeah, I just didn't have enough to do. So now that I've got more to do, I'm upping my game, which is no
you have to
reflection on.
take into higher gear. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep up with them. Right. I think I'm doing okay.
One of my things was when the first time I heard you sing Shook Me by
Yeah.
AC/DC.
Which is hard.
It is hard, and I'm like, I don't know about, but you sing it really well.
Thank you. Does it have
Yes, it comes across.
I just try
like
not to.
It should.
Don't want to have it when the notes are that high. Your goal is not to sound like a Disney princess, right? Because I could do Disney princess without thinking about it, but
Oh,
Janis Joplin and those with the scratchy voice, that's really hard to do, to emulate that quality without tearing the crap out of your
Yeah.
throat
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
taking up smoking. So
Oh, you don't do that.
I don't intend to.
What is your favorite song to
everybody
sing?
asks me that. I don't know that I have one because I like everything with a challenge. So in this band, I think what's kind of become my signature move is Bang Bang. A, because I've never rapped before. And okay, so we have this middle-aged white lady who's going to, try to Nicki Minaj this stuff. And I just was so intimidated. I was like, I can't do this. You guys like, this is crazy. And they're like, no, we expect you to do this. And I stuck with it. And, then I made it bigger and more powerful than I think was intended. And
Hey, doesn't the Suburbans crowd, don't they get out there and have their little line dance during that song? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
No, there are other line dances in that band.
Okay.
But
All
I
right,
think they just kind of stand in, especially if we're at a new place and people, like especially the young people, they'll lean in and go, okay, who's this old white lady? What's she going to do with this?
Lightly. That's great.
So that's been a fun evolution. Girls Just Want to Have Fun is hard because it's high, but just being in an '80s band since the '80s, I'm tired. But it's a crowd pleaser, so we'll do it. But I did when I joined the band. There were 2 songs that I would not do.
I know this story.
I said I will. The very first conversation I had with Keith, I said there are just, if you have to have these on your set list, then I'm not your girl. And it was Hit Me With Your Best Shot and I Love Rock and Roll. Because I couldn't do it without being medicated. And Hit Me With Your Best Shot, great song. I'm a big Benatar fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you can't dance to. It's hard to dance to. It's not one that everybody had to flock to the dance floor. So it just not doing it anymore. And he didn't argue with me. It was fine. Nobody's talked about it since. So
There's enough songs out there that you don't
I
have
think.
to. Yeah.
I think.
Although I've heard that I Love Rock and Roll is such an easy song to do that it's just a good
It's
filler
low.
song. It's a good filler song.
Yeah.
That it's
Yeah.
guaranteed
Everybody
to get
can
people,
play it, yeah.
And everybody
does.
and everybody
Low-hanging fruit,
and
yeah.
everybody
Right.
dances to it. So it's such a low. It's that's
It's a
how-
little low for me. I mean, I really have to get a good breath under me. I'm not a tenor.
Mm-hmm.
The Prince show was hard. Purple Jam was hard this year.
We
If
got to
you-
talk about that.
I'm not a tenor, you guys.
Yeah, so you did. Yeah, so just this past like a week ago,
Right.
today, you performed at Purple Jam 7.
I was terrified. Yeah, that was a very hard. That was a long day.
You didn't come across as terrified. You
Once
did
I
great.
got there, I was okay. And again, my boys were there.
Yes.
Aaron and I got it.
Went,
Yeah,
Aaron.
and Keith and Tiffany came and their
Right.
beautiful wives, and they were in the crowd. But Aaron didn't leave my side. He was right here the whole night.
So what made you so nervous then?
I didn't feel like I was prepared. I'd been doing a lot of traveling and learning new songs for Suburbans. I had a couple of new tunes that we had just kind of brushed off, and I was gone a lot in May. I had 2 trips that I was gone, and I just wasn't as prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know how it was going to go, and then there was some question of structure. And boy, covering a live version of a song is so intimidating. It's not like the record where you have a set structure. You've got it. You're so dependent on your band behind you to just be paying attention. And
Sure.
it went much better than I thought, not knowing any of them.
Right, that's the thing about
Yes.
that particular jam night.
It
It's
was
like,
scary.
If you're lucky, you can coerce them because Patrick, when he would do it, he was lucky to get everybody to agree to meet somebody somewhere for like one rehearsal.
We did, yeah. On one of the songs I did, they had a rehearsal, but I was out of town again. And one we had the day before with one of the other songs, which was helpful, but Tyson was on keys for that one, so I didn't. He didn't. So he's calling me at 5:00 on Sunday, the night of Purple Jam. Goes, okay, so what's the structure here? You're calling me? So everybody followed. It turned out fine.
Yeah, it did.
I was my own worst critic on that. I think I missed some things I should have done that they were expecting, but it turned out okay.
Well, with Purple Jam, I think everybody kind of expects it to, you're bringing in a whole bunch of different musicians.
Right.
Together.
And just seeing people I don't see as often as I'd like.
Right.
Brett and Kelly
Right,
Boulay
right.
and Go-Go.
And these songs are, they're not the easiest. It's Prince, for
Right.
gosh sakes.
Right. And I had the easy job. I mean, singing is easy compared to,
Well, I thought
playing,
you
being a
did
real musician.
You did a great job of
Thanks.
being up front and keeping everybody
Yeah.
together.
If we were
on
going
time.
down, we were going down together.
For God's
So
sake.
you don't know any music, you don't play any music. It's just singing. That's the only thing
I
that you
took
do.
piano lessons. I can read music. I don't
Okay.
always understand it. I can read Italian too, but I don't know that I always understand it all. I can't dissect it.
Why Italian?
as well.
What?
It's a metaphor, Shannon.
Oh, you can't read Italian.
I can read Italian. I mean, I
You
could pronounce
can.
all the words. Like if this was an Italian, I could read it to you, and the sounds would, but I wouldn't know what it meant. So I can look at music and go, okay, that's a G chord or whatever, but I don't always get it quickly to play proficiently.
Because she's a dancer.
But I did start taking piano lessons a little bit when I
That's
moved
right.
back
Yeah,
to
you just
town.
said that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, just recently.
Yeah.
No, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
And
That's a
starting
good
a new
idea.
business, it was, so yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going to
so-
take flamenco lessons. And
So what do you, when you moved back to Kansas City? So what is it that you guys? You told me, but for everybody else, like what do you guys do? You and Mike, what do you do now here in Kansas
we
City?
own a dog training gym at 92nd and Metcalf. It's called Zoom Room. It's a franchise, and it's a really happy place to bring your dog that gets them some training. And, everybody, you learn to live with dogisms. I had no idea you could teach a dog to read.
Really?
You can teach a dog to leave your sandwich alone if you want to leave it on the table and walk away and get a drink of water and expect that your sandwich is still going to be there when you get back. You can train a terrier to stop barking when you ask it to. And it's not that hard. Just takes some time, like teaching kids.
So how did you settle on that? Because given his history as a CFO, and then I can't remember. So he was a CFO in Tampa. Was it the same? Did he go
Finance,
to a different company?
yeah,
Did he go to a different,
operational finance.
But when he
No.
you moved to North Carolina, did he switch
The
companies?
parent company was the same, but there
Okay.
was some restructuring within the parent company, so kind of.
Okay.
That's the short answer. VF Industries owns Vans and North Face and Timberland.
Sure.
And then they bought Majestic in Florida, which was the sports jerseys.
yeah. Half my wardrobe.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes. And not just baseball, but they had football and hockey. And
Yeah.
I think they had NBA for a little while, but then they owned Wrangler and Lee Jeans. So Lee Jeans left Kansas City and was bought out by Wrangler, which was in North Carolina. So he went to work for
See,
them.
Brian has Husky in Lee jeans, so I can wear those. I'm sorry, it's never mind.
They're same company. It's just where you
Never
buy them and how much you pay for them.
Right.
But yeah, so he just decided he didn't want to be in corporate anymore. He said, I could retire with full benefits from this company in 5 years, but I might kill my boss first. I
not
cannot
good.
do this.
Yeah.
The culture just turns really sour. He said, I can't do this. He said, we're going to be too young to completely retire at the end of that 5 years. Why don't we get a jump start on building our own something and build our own wealth? And it sounded like a great idea. When my heart started beating again, I didn't love Greensboro, but I wasn't ready to leave Greensboro because of the people that we had met there. I just kind of settled into things. Mm-hmm. We just moved there in time for COVID, and just had a hard time.
timing.
It took us a couple of years to really make friends and to get going with a life there. And just then he said, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, so I just looked at him and I said, fine, then we're going back to Kansas City. And he said, yeah, I think it's time. Before then, it wouldn't have been time. It would have been too soon.
Yeah. No.
I don't know that I would have thought I would have moved back, but we just really missed it. We were pining.
Well, you would come back a couple of times for Purple Jam because that was.
I came back twice for
Yeah.
Purple Jam. Yeah, and in 2022 we did "Take Me With You," which is essentially a duet, the two of us.
Yes.
And with our son on drums, and it was
yeah.
transcendent. I mean, it was just the
Yeah.
best musical experience I've ever had. And there's video of me jumping up on the drum riser at the end when he closes with the drum solo, and I have my hand around his neck and I'm kissing his cheek like moms do.
Right.
I love my kids. They're my first priority.
Sure.
And they're all musically talented. You know, they do different things. They all sing.
Well, you,
yeah.
you and Mike are talented. Michael, you guys are talented.
I
so.
think, yeah, we were lucky to meet each other and have so much in common.
How'd that happen?
Yeah, your high school, correct?
Oh, you
Third
had-
grade.
Whoa.
Third grade.
We met each other in the third grade. We knew each other in the third grade. Our parents were friendly, and his older siblings. He's the youngest of 4. I'm the oldest, and his older siblings would babysit me and my younger sister. So I've known that whole family since I think 1978. So we ran into each other in college and started dating in college. So we were not high school sweethearts.
Okay.
Technically, we just knew each other, and we got along as kids. I mean, as 8-year-olds, we got along fine. You know, I've always had a lot in common. And he turned out, you know, I ran into him again when we were, 19 or 20, and he was big blue eyes and good strong chin and broad shoulders. He played baseball. I like baseball.
And where were you going to college at that time?
I was at junior college in Joliet, and he went to a small Catholic college where he played baseball.
Okay.
It was within walking distance, and my stepdad was an adjunct professor there, and he graduated college the same day as my mom. My mom got her college degree and graduated
Very
from the
nice.
same school the same day as my
Very
husband.
nice.
No.
Great.
My mom was the first one in her generation to go to college. So
What's your mom's name?
Rita.
Rita.
Hi, Rita.
Yeah,
Hi, Mom.
Way to go, Rita. Very nice.
She's a rock star.
Yeah, and you may not even know where she's at the moment. So-
I
Right.
don't. I talked to her yesterday
Put out
morning.
an
She was at home.
Good. Oh,
She was.
thank
They were at
God.
home yesterday.
Okay.
That's all I can
Good,
promise.
we don't need to put Life 360 on them.
No,
or anything.
no. But they did just get back. They do road trips, and they went to Savannah and Charleston.
All right. Very
So they,
nice.
they go places I'd love to go.
Sure.
They drove
Southeast,
Route
yeah.
66. They drove to
a popular
Quebec.
thing.
They just drove to Quebec.
Okay, just up and let's go.
And 2 weeks later, they drove the Route 66. They drove to Albuquerque on 66.
Ah,
Oh.
yeah,
It's just
nice.
they're-
Good for them.
it's great. They sense of adventure, and they're healthy. So I'm grateful.
Right.
And I have a sister with teenagers in the Joliet area, and love those kids to pieces. That's my second shot. It's so much easier and more fun to be Aunt Shen.
Aunt Shen.
Aunt
Oh.
Shen.
Can we call you Shen?
I would love that.
Is
Yeah,
that
a few
okay?
people
All
do.
right. Okay.
Just my mom and my sister are really the only ones that call me that. My husband
I
doesn't
don't
even
wanna-
call me, but
no,
you
I
can.
don't-
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
okay.
when I know I'm really loved.
All right. Well, all right.
It's fine.
No, sorry. All right.
Nobody
Shen.
calls me Bone either.
I mean,
It's a guy thing, I guess.
I guess.
I'm just Shenon to most people,
Right.
but I'll
right.
answer to most things
Very nice.
except
very nice.
Shannon.
Hey.
I try not to answer
you
to
don't
that.
want that name. I don't know anybody named that. Real quick, just talking about Michael. It's After Party is
Yeah.
his band, right?
Yeah,
I love
very
that
different set
band.
list.
Very different set list. He's such a great singer.
He's incredible.
Saxophone
yeah.
player, too.
And
Yes.
saxophone player. Just have a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing them. They'll be here at Jerry's here in the next
June.
few weeks in
Yeah.
June. So I'm looking forward to that because we certainly have.
I'm not. They're going to
great
have a
time.
guest bass player.
Okay. All right.
So whether I don't know which, I can't even keep track of my own band schedule, let alone. I woke up Thursday and I said I have a gig tonight. It was not on my radar at
that's
all.
right.
I've never
Prairie
blown
fire.
it before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot all about it. It was like 4 a.m, and I went, oh shit. So yeah, I don't know when, but they're going to have Brett Boulay is going to fill in for one gig, and
Oh,
Stephanie Shelton is going to
fun.
fill in for another gig.
Fun.
While their bass player, our best
Okay.
friend here, Dave Ramsey, is convalescing. So
All right. Okay. And Stephanie Shelton, we know her. I mean,
Yep.
she's in everything
She's in everything as well.
and can
right?
be.
Yeah,
Play anything.
She wasn't at Purple Jam this year.
No, I know. I missed her.
Yeah.
Right.
that's-
Right. But she normally does the Poorhouse Wednesday
Yes,
night jam
she does jam nights.
Right. Right. Which I'd like to.
I
go
pop
to
in every.
that.
Yeah.
Do you? Oh, you have to let me know.
I-
when
okay.
you do.
Yeah,
Go next
because
time.
I live in Lenexa, so I'm not far.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's an easy.
All right. You know Clarence?
I don't.
Clarence McWilliams? Okay. He's a drummer. Yeah. Okay.
I
Went
might
to
know
high
him
school with-
to see him. I don't know him by name.
Yeah. No, that's
But I was
cool.
gone for 8 years. A lot happened musically. People moved away and people moved in, and half of Kansas City moved to Nashville and back
Right.
again.
Yes.
They did. Sure.
So
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't know everybody.
Well, Tyson moved back for a minute,
back,
then moved back
Yeah.
to Nashville.
Right.
Right. He wasn't getting enough.
Right.
Action
And Andrew
work.
got a call to play drums at some club on Broadway in the middle of the afternoon. Didn't know who the artist or who anybody was. He didn't matter. He was available, and that's Nashville. You get a call and you might go play something in an hour. Drop and run. And he gets there and oh, it's you. It's Tyson. Tyson, no, it's you. Yeah.
Hey, whoa.
So he keeps a pretty good eye on my kid for me.
That's great.
Not that he needs it, but
I do like Andrew's posts that he does and just different things.
very
he does on social
thoughtful, cerebral like his dad.
media. Okay.
Not shot out of a cannon like his mom.
Oh, all right. There you go. Right.
So weren't you in Nashville recently? No, you were. Or were you in
At
Nashville?
the beginning of April.
Okay.
I was there, yeah.
And then did you do the Broadway?
I went to his show, and a lot of 22-year-olds that they just let out of the house, and I narrowly avoided getting into a bar fight with this poor young lady. I was very patient with all of the slamming into me she was doing, but when she spilled her drink on me, I had kind of had it. So I just, and again, old lady, these, like, I'm mom to these people, but I'm standing in the right up front so I could see my kid. I don't care. I was at his tooth play in the second grade. I was at his kindergarten graduation and all of his band concerts and, in junior high. I was there for all of it. So I want a front row seat. This is my kid. So I'm standing there and, trying not to be creepy old lady, just staring at the band. But the bass player was standing right there. And he gets into the talk back mic and he says to Andrew, "Hey, dude, are you married?" He said, "Well, I'm about to be," because he is engaged now to a beautiful redhead who's also a singer. And he's about to be. Why? He goes, "Because there's this lady up front that's just been staring at you the whole." And he goes, "The lady in the pink? Yeah, that's my mom."
That's
Oh.
my mom.
Oh, she loves you. That's the best part. And she loves you. She does, yeah. So he's almost always got a show when I'm there. So it doesn't get old.
Yeah.
I
right.
love watching how his career has
And
progressed.
Does he love watching you as how your career has progressed?
I doubt it.
He's too busy.
I was in bands when he was a little kid. I don't know if he just thought everybody's mom did that.
Sure. Right.
Oh, you must be so cool. Your mom's in a band. He didn't think of it that way. I was cool when I let him have pop for dinner.
Okay.
If we went to a restaurant.
Oh, very nice.
Just
Hey,
normal mom
whoa.
stuff. It's just normal for him. I think he's
Crazy.
proud of us, but
Sure. So you guys are like the Irish Partridge Family then as well.
yeah.
Really what I'm getting from this.
Yes. Although you'd think I could get them to Christmas Carol with me, but no, nothing doing.
Man, maybe after this.
My
maybe they will.
daughter, who's an incredible vocalist, she's so great. She gets stage fright, so she, occasionally we can get her to do karaoke, but
She's not on the dock of a Purple Jam, is what you're saying.
No, she could, and so we did karaoke, and she just rocked it. She had the moves. She just, she's working the crowd, and no, she's got other things. She's a food guru. So
Okay.
again, that skipped a generation.
Very nice. No, that's okay. That's okay. Let's finish out this.
Okay.
We're going to kind of just random question you some things here.
I can take it.
Just kind of
I don't have
finish
anything
things up.
interesting. I've got fun stories that happened to me,
that's
but
exactly- that's the whole
That's
thing.
what we want. That's
Yeah.
what we want.
retroactive was nuts. Those are the ones that were most likely to get me arrested.
So, by the way, I think I've met one of the members of Retroactive. It was at one of the after party shows, at the last one at Jerry's.
The bass player.
The bass
Yeah,
player.
that's how we met.
Okay. All right. What's his name?
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. Okay.
He's-
Yeah.
yep.
I talked with
Yes.
him a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
In my sleep in a coma with half my brain tied behind my back, I can tell which one of the bass players in 100 is Dave.
Okay.
He's very busy.
All right. Okay. Sure.
A lot of extra things.
That's how it goes. So, do you have a favorite band?
I
In
always
general.
loved Journey growing up. I just thought, you know, in retrospect, as an adult with some experience with music now, just the perfect blend of catchy and pop to really extraordinary musicianship. I got to meet those guys a couple of times. By meet, I mean stalk those guys a couple of times.
Okay.
So did you like meet them in person and said, "Hi, I'm Shannon"? And
No,
then,
I
like,
just said, I'm seldom speechless.
Hi,
I had
Steve
nothing
Perry.
intelligent
Oh
to
my
say to
God,
Jonathan
Neil
Cain
Young.
at all.
Jonathan Cain, yeah.
And they're either really tall or really short in that band. And Jonathan Cain was a keyboard player, and so I just I wanted to play Journey music. That's all I wanted to play on the piano. He's like 6'3". He was just
Did not know that.
felt
That's
like
pretty
that
tall.
at the time, and they were just very gracious. So
what years were those? Were those the '80s years or the reunion years? or-
reunion years.
Okay.
They had a guy called Steve Jerry from Tall. His band in New York was Tallgrass, and he was one of the first ones. And then Jeff Scott Soto filled in for them for a while before they got Arnel Pineda, who's the guy
Arnel
that they have
Pineda.
now, who's an incredible vocalist and performer in
Just
his
a
own
great
right.
guy, just all around great
Yeah.
person is what I understand.
I've never met him.
I don't-
He's the
I
only
don't
one I
know
haven't stalked. I stalked everybody
Nah.
else.
But he does
Did
a
you
great
meet Steve
job.
Perry?
I didn't.
Was he still? So he was
No.
out of the band
Yeah.
by that point for good. Then.
Yes, but
Okay.
I hear he's a good guy too, which is nice when you have this idolization from childhood that they're decent human beings. That could go badly.
He was at Kaufman when San Francisco beat the Royals for the World Series. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Do you remember? Like,
Yeah.
somebody
I saw
took-
that.
Somebody took a selfie with him in the bathroom.
I saw that,
Just
yeah.
imagine like you're waiting in line for the bathroom,
And
and
there's
there's
Steve Perry, yeah.
in a San Francisco Giants
Yeah.
jersey.
Because he's from the area. He's Bay Area. Yeah, Bay Area guy. Not a tall guy either. Mm-hmm. No, but yeah, just his voice, man, one of a kind. So yeah, and I
agree.
just
I agree.
the B side of Escape is completely underrated. That's my Desert Island album.
Okay.
To sum up,
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Very nice. Do you have a favorite singer out of
or
male or
did you
female?
just answer that? Yeah. Or-
this may surprise you, but Julie Andrews. If I were really pressed,
sure.
like if you
Okay.
tied me to the railroad tracks, the train was coming,
Mm-hmm.
and forced me to pick one. Cyndi Lauper, entirely underrated. What she can do and does live regularly.
Are you going to see her here at Sandstone when she?
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I drove from Tampa to St. Augustine, which is 3.5 hours, by myself, got a hotel room to see her when we lived
Wow.
there.
Okay. All right.
Stayed in
Okay.
it, got a hotel by myself, took the shuttle, went and then drove home the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
Worth
have,
it.
Have you seen the Stolen Winnebagos do Time After Time?
Not that one, no, but I'm
They
a
do
big
it.
fan.
They
yeah.
do it well, and they get a good response.
One of the downsides of being in a band that plays every weekend is I don't get to hear other things
What
as
other-
much as I'd
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Between his and mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I very seldom have that time off.
But yeah, they do it. They do it pretty good.
I bet.
They get a
they
good
do
response,
everything
and-
well. Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing they can't do.
Who, the Stolen Winnebagos?
Bagos, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You know, they could. Well,
Colby by himself can do
Well,
it.
well, we've seen that many times. Just go
Yes.
to Murphy's Corner on Thursday nights. And you
Yeah.
can
Right.
And
find-
have.
impromptu plug for Colby.
Which is my backyard. So
Oh,
happy
well,
to, yeah.
then we'll let you know when we're going up.
Please
there for
do.
that.
Yeah.
I always like to say that the Stolen Winnebagos could post where they're going to do their laundry, and it would
People
pack
would
the
show
place.
up, yeah.
So
I like that line, though.
that's the truth.
I bet.
It is
They've been
the
around
truth.
a while. Yeah.
Hey, I'm seeing he has a question here. It's a really good question. Have you had the opportunity to work with anybody famous musically, professionally, like a famous person or anything like
No.
that? So the closest encounter then would be just meeting Journey backstage, for example.
I did some vocals for a friend who is a songwriter in Tampa that supposedly was going to go to Nancy Wilson. I don't know how that turned out.
So she was going to take, like, selling a song to Nancy Wilson
Well,
that they wrote, and then you were the vocals to.
Yeah, I don't know about selling, but
However,
I'm not quite sure the details of that. And I don't know that the production got done in time,
Right.
but that was as close as I could come to
I've-
almost singing
Yeah.
for Nancy Wilson.
Yeah, no, I've heard that that's what they do. A songwriter will bring somebody in to actually sing the song, and then they'll ship that song to national acts.
That's how Andrew got through COVID, was record and doing engineering. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
People send in their demos, and he would get a band in his. He's got a studio in his house, and
Right.
he's incredible. Best sound guy I ever worked with. If I can
Is
be
Andrew?
objective, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, he's just got an incredible ear for things. And so I've done recording in his studio, and it's, Mom, hit that one again. Okay, Mom, I need a little more punch. Mom, let's try this with it, Mom. And I'm standing in a corner behind a shower curtain. I'm like, is my name on the
Right.
mortgage here? What's happening?
Right.
Answer to that is no. He owns his own house.
There you go. Very good. Very good for him. What do you do to prep yourself for your voice or during your shows? Are you drinking electrolytes or
Water and a little bit of whiskey. Whiskey is very anesthetizing. I wish it weren't so, but it really is the best thing. So I try to limit myself to one during the first set, one during the second set, and try to sip it all the way through.
Brian, maybe that's what you should do.
And lots of water.
Just
limit
one.
yourself to
Don't
one during
talk
each
to people.
set. Yeah, don't
I
talk
hate to do it
people.
because you're that's
No.
kind of part of the job. But yelling over the house music is the worst thing to do.
Yeah.
So I just try to hide under a table.
Who's the jam guy that
Devery.
Devery?
So there's a Jackson and Mars tribute from St. Louis. I don't know if you've seen me post about them all the time when they come
Yes,
to Kansas.
yes.
So Devery is
Devery.
Devery Newsom he does both Michael Jackson
I knew
and
a
Bruno
Devery
Mars.
from Joliet, Illinois.
And so so he does Jackson and Mars, and between the sets, he doesn't really, because we remember we went
Yeah.
there that one time. Hey,
Yeah. Right. He's
quick
like-
backstage interview, and he's like, no, because he's resting his voice,
Yeah.
And but of course he's
Yeah.
singing Michael Jackson, which is very high.
Right.
Bruno Mars,
Different
I think,
quality,
is also.
yes.
So and in fact during their set, they take longer breaks so he can kind of rest the vocals, but he also has a fantastic guitar player who has fantastic vocals in his own right, who'll take over and sing
Underrated,
2 or 3 songs.
yeah.
He can sing, the first one he does is I Want You Back, and he could hit those falsettos perfectly
Yes.
to the point where people
Cham.
think,
Yeah,
so to
yeah.
the point they think that he's lip syncing. He's like, no,
That's it.
He's literally singing that while playing the guitar solo at the
Yeah.
same. So
I
that
hate
gives-
those cats. Andrew can sing lead and play drums.
Yeah.
It's and
But-
Jim Bro can too. Yeah.
and
go ahead.
so but that's it. Like back to Devery, resting your voice between the shows and not
And
having
I-
to shout
and I don't as much as I maybe would like to from my vocal standpoint, just because it just makes me tired. But I like people. I don't take myself as a singer all that seriously. Oh, I have to rest my voice.
You have your
I
little,
could be in a cover band.
you have a set of groupies at your show.
I am so lucky.
and that's part of being in a cover. But
Kay,
you got to go out.
I love
and-
Kay. I love
Well, I
Michael
think-
Tina. Tina. I love those women. I'm so grateful.
And I feel
Yeah.
like part of being in a cover band is not just playing songs that people like, but people liking you. And
Yeah.
part of that is engaging and socializing.
Yeah, and I
people
genuinely
wanna
like
come back.
people.
Yeah, yeah. So that's part of the deal.
Sometimes you're nice to people that are weird, and you don't want to necessarily talk to people, and they just want to tell you all about their lives, and you didn't ask.
Yeah, it's
not
a challenge.
Not on
yeah.
a set in between sets.
But then I get people like Johnny, he's just become my buddy, and now he's my dance
Johnny
partner.
Byrne.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. This round of bandom for me has been by far the most fun.
Yeah.
You never would have expected that when you're
Minding my own business.
yeah.
Right.
Just having dinner. We didn't, we left a band in North Carolina. We were in an 80s band together that was really booking some really great gigs. Mm-hmm. We had some really fun gigs in that band, but it was still the same music we've been doing since, and we were just a little tired of it. And it was a different personal dynamic. We're going to go with that.
Yeah.
But tried to stay in touch with those guys too a little bit, and it was fun, but we just weren't in a space for this. And Michael fell into his after party accidentally too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was with people that are close friends. I think otherwise he wouldn't have probably done it. And he also gets to tailor make his own set list. So he loves rock, and he's a rock guy, and so you wouldn't get him to do Jesse's Girl again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. you have rights and freedoms. For
Yes.
gosh sakes.
Right.
So, what shows? I understand that Keith is going on vacation to Portugal here at the end of the month.
Yeah, they're going to
Lord.
Europe.
So what shows do you have coming up in the next week? Because it seems like, after this rock block of shows that I feel like you've been doing the last couple weeks is going to wrap up here shortly.
And next weekend we play Town Center. We just
Yeah.
The opening for Summer Breeze,
Yes.
Thursday night.
right. That's just a little short, 30 minutes. So if you're going to catch us early. Come early.
They start. Yeah, that starts at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Town Center Plaza parking lot. The summer concerts they do every June.
Yep.
So you're playing a 30-minute set from 7 to 7:30 or 7, maybe 7:45 or whatever.
Depending,
Opening for Summer Breeze,
Yes.
which is a yacht.
We'll be there.
right.
band.
That'll be fun.
And then after that,
So 6th we play what used to be the Stone Pillar Winery in Olathe, but it's moved. It's
Right.
DeSoto, but it's the same.
Latham
Venue.
family.
Yeah.
Place.
And that's our anniversary. It's our wedding anniversary. So come see me.
What better way to celebrate?
I told him he
your
had to
wedding?
come. He had to come to this show. He doesn't always
Michael,
come to him. I mean, he loves me, but he's heard me sing before, and he just started running our own business is taxing.
Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
somebody's
I
gotta
try
be
not to
there.
put too much
I mean,
pressure
didn't
on
you
him.
work today? A
Yeah,
little
I
bit?
did.
Yeah.
I did. He's still there. I mean, he's probably just getting home
My
now.
gosh, thank you, sir, for fitting us in.
yeah.
No, it's my. I didn't have anywhere to be.
Well, we really appreciate it and glad
Yeah.
that we could make this happen.
Me too.
And
Right.
so the launch of season 3 of Kansas City Nights, the podcast.
Oh.
What do you know?
Whoa.
Any
And
last
we're
words,
back.
Shannon? Like, we're just happy to.
Yeah, I don't know that my musical career is all of that thrilling, but I definitely am pretty approachable as a person, and
You
hopefully
are.
that
Well, we're delighted that you're in the
Yeah.
Suburbans.
Make
That
new
was
friends
a-
from this.
That was
Yes.
a great. Glad to have you
Right,
back.
right.
I mean, we've
Thanks,
known each other
thanks.
for quite a while,
Yeah.
so it was fun. I remember like when you came back and you were sort of like watching. Was that the?
That was at Lenexa. Yeah.
Yes, and
This
you
is
said-
Brian Rice. Yeah, I know
Yes.
Brian. Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Oh yeah,
Right.
That's right.
Your hair precedes you.
It does. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Excellent.
All right.
You're on it.
I've loved doing this, you guys. Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
you bet.
You
Well,
didn't
let's-
have
it's
to.
about
Let's do it again.
time.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
I
Ladies
won't
and
have any better
gentlemen.
stories.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shenon
Thank you
Dawn,
so much.
Kansas City Nights.
You got it.
That's it.